New World Order, you underestimated the people. You took a gamble and you lost.
Okay, we don't like this. Okay, well then we're going to do this, and that is just how it's going to be.
Evidence brought to light that there is a corrupt officer, or that officer did shoot that kid on purpose.
I don't care how I look, I don't care how I sound, I don't care what the beat is. I just care the message gets across.
What's up, everyone? This is Tin Man with the Resistance.
I'm Lucid.
And this is your weekly report.
Once again.
Yeah.
Notice there's no fan noise in the background this time.
Oh, yeah.
We decided to suffer so you guys could hear what we actually are fucking talking about.
Man, we got something interesting to talk about. We're not going to get into a whole bunch of stories today. We're just going to focus on one. That would be the net neutrality bill that has just passed. For those of you who don't know, net neutrality is the internet version of the Affordable Care Act. It is nothing more than a rape of our freedoms and liberties. And that is pretty well evident considering they have yet to declassify this document. It was a secret document. They said everything will come out once the bill has been passed, but yet it still hasn't come out. So that's a pretty good indication that this bill is nothing more than a dick in the ass of the American people.
An infringement upon your rights.
To say the least.
So let's get into the dynamics of everything. From what I understand, net neutrality and the thing that they're doing with this bill that's been passed by the fucking FCC, fuck you by the way, is basically, it's not a censorship, so I don't know why the FCC even has a fucking hand in it.
Well, if the FCC does have a hand in it, you can figure that there probably will be censorship.
Well, anyway, what they're trying to do is they're trying to state that the big companies like Google and, you know, any big major like company or contractor has more bandwidth and speed than, like, say, the people who pay for their internet on a daily basis.
Yep.
Now, see, I had the idea at first that net neutrality was about like a Obamacare thing, where which would be a good idea to do, by the way,
to make the internet free.
To make the internet free for those who can't pay for internet, to have freedom of information, you know, to make it a thing where if you can't pay for the internet, it's free, but you get less bandwidth, and some sites you don't get to go on, you know, stuff like that. You know, if you get the free internet, you know, you could go on your social networking sites and do research and stuff like that, see the news media stuff that's posted online and whatnot, but you won't be able to do things like post certain kinds of videos. You won't be able to do things like, you know, for you porn freaks out there, you won't be able to watch porn, and, you know, just different things like that. You know, I thought that if it was free, that would be a acceptable thing. But what they actually are doing, instead of making it free and making it, you know, censored thing, like I said, if you can't pay for it, then you get it for free and you get censored. But if you can pay for it, you know, you're not censored, but you get access to everything, which, you know, would be a reasonable thing to do. But since they're not doing that, what they are actually doing is that the big corporations like these, you know,
Google, for instance.
Google or Microsoft, or, you know, these big construction companies, and, you know, all these places that have internet in their buildings get 100% access to the bandwidth and all this. They get top speeds and whatnot. But the people who are private internet, you know, participants.
Yeah, and it includes private business, I found out.
Yeah, private business too, I guess. That you only get certain bandwidth on certain sites, and then other sites don't give you as much bandwidth. You know, I mean, it sounds to me like they're doing the whole 1% bullshit with the internet even.
Yep.
You know,
well, why wouldn't the 1% want to control the internet, control the flow of information?
well,
That's what
as far as the
essentially
flow
comes
of the flow of control of information is concerned, you know, that's been a thing that's been going on since fucking the beginning of time. You know, the government has always, you know, basically put a dick in your ass when it comes to, you know, what information you get, the stuff that you're able to research and whatnot.
Yep, and I'm not the only one who says dick in the ass. It's not that I'm fond of dicks in the ass, it's just...
Oh, he's fond of it, alright. But, you know...
Hey, maybe I'll show my ass on camera this week.
No, we've seen enough of your ass already, okay? You've already wiped your ass with a Mitt Romney doll and tossed it off camera. And
Okay, then do I need to show my dick?
in an ass? No.
Just
Please
take
don't.
my clothes off.
No,
Oh,
please
yeah,
don't.
Baby. Okay, naked.
Are you done?
Okay, I'm done.
Okay. But it's not just information flow that we're talking about here. It's censorship. It's you know, it's for the people who are paying for the shit should get the same shit that other people are paying for, but they're stopping that even. Also, the thing that I want to touch on personally is that there's this bill that gets passed when people don't even know what it is and don't even get an opportunity to vote on the fucking thing. What is that about?
Yeah, I brought that up in my video where I address the issue. You know, as far as Congress and the Senate and all that were concerned, we need to do away with them having executive power to vote and make laws themselves. What it needs to be is they need to propose bills that go to the vote to the people.
Well, that's how it's supposed to work.
Yeah, they shouldn't have this executive control, and they shouldn't have bills that are totally fucking secret. I mean, the Patriot Act, for example. Nobody in the House or Senate was allowed to read that sumbitch unless they passed it.
Yeah, and see, this is what I'm talking about. You know, people don't even have access to some of these things that people are voting on. And that's another thing we'll touch on, too. Not just internet neutrality, but the fact that bills are being passed without our fucking votes. I mean, that goes against the basis of our constitutional rights and protections.
Well, before we get into that, let's investigate this bill itself. Anonymous has opposed the net neutrality bills continuously in the past. Every time something was presented to control the internet, Anonymous has been right there to say, hey, you do this, we're coming after you.
And not just that, aside from the Anonymous thing, you know, we've also done internet strikes where, you know, we don't get on the internet for an entire day because of this shit.
Yeah.
You know, where we strike against the big companies and the internet shit. You know,
we hit it where it hurts.
I'll tell you what, if this bill goes the way I think it's going to go, I mean, it's already in effect, but if it continues on the path that it's already, you know, started down, then I think that people are going to be more hooked to want to watch the news on television again and read newspapers, which is not necessarily a bad thing, because these people...
Provided you were getting honest information.
Right, exactly. But even then, libraries will be used more again, and, you know, it might even help the economy a little bit, you know what I mean, to a certain extent.
That is a possibility, but I see something totally different happening. I want your opinion on this.
Okay.
Being that Anonymous has stood so strongly against the internet neutrality bills in the past, and they are, for all intents and purposes, the final boss of the internet. If the government is trying to seize total executive control, as it seems, how do you think Anonymous is going to respond?
Well, if Anonymous is as big and as powerful as they claim to be, which I've seen a couple of things just since, you know, you've moved in with me and, you know, we've been on this Anonymous thing. Well, since I've been on this Anonymous kick. I've seen some things where Anonymous has been able to shut shit down.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, I know that some of the Anonymous things, the people that are hackers and, shit like that. If they get together, I have a feeling that the internet's going to crash.
I actually see the total opposite.
And that's only if the bill continues to go the way that it's going, and if Anonymous is as big and powerful as they say. Like I said, this is all speculation.
What I honestly think is going to wind up happening is they're going to do the same thing like what they did in Egypt. They're going to seize control of the internet and give it to the people, just like what happened in Egypt when the Egyptian regime shut down the internet. Anonymous came in and turned the internet back on and gave it to the people.
Well, that would be nice. I mean, that's a start. You know what I mean? If the government has the balls to take shit away from the people, their freedoms and their constitutional rights, then they should be shut off from the whole thing, and people should take control of that aspect.
And I'm glad you brought that up, because that kind of brings me up to my next point here. The Constitution says that if the government exceeds its initial parameters, it starts becoming corrupted, then the people have that right to seize control of the government and restore it. Let me
rephrase that for you. It's not our right, it's our duty to restore it to its original state.
Okay.
It's our duty as people. If you see something that's wrong with what's going on in the world, the Constitution says that it's not only our constitutional right, but it is our duty as free people to do something about it.
Okay, well, here's the big question. How?
Well, the first step is, like you said, dude, Anonymous. I mean, you have to get the hackers involved. You have to get protesters involved. You have to. I'm sure there's a big fucking uproar going on right now. I mean, I haven't done too much research into it. I mean, I just know what you've told me in the last day or two, and what I've heard on the Alex Jones show. But coming out smoking cigarettes, or hanging out with you for a minute or two, see what you're doing on the computer. Just some news articles that you're looking up and listening to the Alex Jones show that you have on almost every morning now. I know a little bit but I don't know that if the people are taking a proactive approach to it. They need to picket, they need to protest, they need to do physical shit too. They need to, and I'm not condoning any acts of quote unquote terrorism, because that is not what I'm about. That's not what we're about.
Well,
but
as far as the government's concerned, patriotism is terrorism.
That's what I'm saying. So, but if there's people out there that can do something about it, it's not only their right, it's their duty to do something about it. Yeah. And me personally, I don't know what to fucking do. I don't know how to do anything. I can't fucking seize control of the internet. If I could, it'd be done already. You know what I'm saying? It would already be in the works, but...
Well, I've got some theories. Considering most of this links back to the globalist 1%, the big bankers, the heads of industry and whatnot. Should we fix the government first, or should we get to the root of the problem and go after the elitists, the 1%? So what's the best way to hit them? They've got get out of jail free cards. They're the richest motherfuckers on the planet. They can buy themselves out of anything. Should we go in, hack their bank accounts, just completely disappear their money, fucking crash their stocks? I mean, what should we do?
Those are all good ideas.
Just totally fucking cripple them. Or you could go
fire sale their asses. You know what I mean? Cut off their communications, cut off their funding, and cut off their fucking utilities, dude. I mean, that's what a fire sale is. Everything must go. I mean, I would say that would be the only way to reset their bullshit, is to completely cut them off.
Yeah, cut off their ability to buy the politicians and the governments. Just completely destroy their resources. But at which point, it goes back to the government as well. A lot of government officials are part of this operation, own major stocks in these companies, and in some cases are even the chairman and CEOs of these companies. So what's to be done about them? They're in power. They're gonna fucking do this shit whether they have money or not. They're still gonna use the power that they have within the government. How do you then neutralize and eliminate that threat?
Re-elect new politicians. Completely. Throw every politician that's in office out. This is asking a lot, I know and understand, and it's never going to happen. I mean, the world is the way it is, and we're going to be fucked either way, but...
Actually, I think I got an idea, but go ahead and finish your thought.
But the only way to get rid of the government corruption and these 1%ers that have the politicians in their back pocket, the only way to get rid of that threat is to completely eliminate it. Take all the corrupt politicians out of office, elect new politicians, House, Senate, and Judicial. You know, get every aspect covered with new politicians in there, so that way you know that there's a complete reset. Do it all in one day. Get it all set up. It's going to be a crazy mess at first, but if we got everybody, like new people in office, that would be the best thing to do. And I think that would be the best way to cut off the elitists, at least for a little while, until the elitists approach the new politicians and get them in their pocket again, at which point there should be a reset like once a year.
Well, they're not necessarily a reset, but, you know, definitely put legislation in place that would prevent the elitists from having any political influence whatsoever.
Right.
But also, if you're going to do a complete reset and elect new politicians and have the problem fixed from there, you got to get the right politicians in. And if globalists are putting their candidates forward, maybe if we take control of the government as we're supposed to, then...
It's not about taking control of the government, though.
No. What I mean is restoring the government to its original parameters as per our duty as Americans. If we do that, I think the first step would be to take control of the INS voting machines and put limitations on who can run. Nobody from Skull and Bones, nobody from any of these secret societies and secret organizations that are tied to the elitists.
That's a good idea, but who's to say who's the right person to take control of the fucking voting booths and whatnot? You know what I mean? Who's, I mean, you could put it under an automated system, but then you have people like Anonymous who can hack into these systems and control the votes themselves. Then you have people, the 1%, the elitists who can hire hackers to bring it under their control. Then if you do it all as like old school ballots where you write their name on a fucking piece of paper and you stick it in a hat, you know, and you count the votes up at the end of the day, even then, the people counting the votes can be corrupt and put extra votes on whoever hired them to put extra votes on. You know what I'm saying?
It needs to be digital, and there needs to be a paper trail. That's what I'm thinking. There needs to be a paper trail. And, you know...
Even if there's a paper trail, the people who look up the paper trail to find out if everything's cool, if they're corrupt, they're going to say it's okay. It doesn't matter how deep you go with it. If the 1%ists are hiring people, as you said yourself, they have enough money to buy their way out of anything. If they have enough money to buy their way out of anything, they have enough money to buy their way into anything. So it doesn't matter. The only way to get rid of the problem of voting would specifically be to take the 1%ists out of it. Anybody who makes over a certain amount of money per year is not allowed to vote. Now, that's unconstitutional. I know what you guys are going to fucking say about that.
They can vote, but they cannot influence votes, and they have no... If they were taken out of the equation as far as buying the politicians and whatnot, as we've already discussed, if we had a paper trail that was made public record, as is with all other countries as per the demands of the United States and the UN.
But you still have forgeries. Even if you go that route, there's still going to be forgeries, because the 1%ists are going to be able to hire people to forge papers.
Well, not if we've completely destroyed that ability, as we've already discussed. If we've completely shut them down.
How are you going to shut them down, though? Without taking them completely out of the equation. The only way to shut that down is to take them out of the equation, not allow them to vote at all. not allow them to be part of politics.
Well, they can't be part of the politics as far as monetary things is concerned, but if they're U.S. citizens, they can vote just like anybody else. But here's the kicker: you're talking about these people buying up votes and whatnot. You know, who are they gonna buy if they don't have money?
That's what I'm saying. You have to take them out of the equation somehow. You have to keep them from using their money for unconstitutional purposes, at which point the Patriot Act comes into fucking play, which you were saying was completely unconstitutional, because then, you know, we're keeping the 1%ists from doing illegal activities in the United States, you know, financially, buying people off and whatnot.
Freeze their bank, simply freeze their bank accounts.
Yeah, but that's unconstitutional too. You can't stop somebody from withdrawing or using their money as they see fit. You understand what I'm saying? At which point, if you say, "Oh, we'll freeze their bank account,"
then we'll just kill them.
That's what I'm saying. You're saying, like, if you freeze their bank accounts between a certain period of time too, then they'll just withdraw their money beforehand and use that money to, you know, buy the politicians off anyway. The only way to get rid of the problem is to get rid of the money. That's the only way.
Yeah.
Because even if you kept them from voting, they'd still pay off people to do the votes for them. Yeah. So it doesn't matter what you do. The only way to get rid of the problem is to take money out of the equation.
If you got the globalist elite to prevent it from buying the politicians, by whatever means you decide to do that, then you completely cock-block their ability to even run for office. That way, real Americans can get in and run and be voted in. That way there is no ties whatsoever to the 1%.
But it costs money to run. If you don't have the money to run, you can't run.
Not necessarily. You can submit your candidacy, and with social media, such as things like Facebook, YouTube, shit like that, if you set up a website where all that shit is public, I mean, you could sit there in your fucking office and make a video. It doesn't need to be a fucking $100,000 commercial. Just fucking get on your fucking camera and say, "Hey, this is who I am. This is what I'm about. This is what I want to do. This is what I want to do."
So basically,
blah, blah, blah.
what should happen? It should be done the way it was done back in the 1800s, dude. When it first started, dude, just not even word of mouth. There should be public speakings. There should be word of mouth. There should be letters. There should be, handwritten sentiments and, stuff like that. That would be the only way to really take it back and do it the right way.
Even so, that'd be cost effective. But being that we have the internet now.
No, I'm saying wipe out all social media, because anybody could download a video from, somebody's fucking IP address, edit the video how they see fit to make the person say what they want them to say, with, special effects and whatnot. I mean, people do that shit all the time. We do that shit. We do that shit with the fucking Weekly Report. I mean, look at the green screen background that we have on here. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's
where there's a will, there's a way.
Right. If you take out technology, you take out money, then we're back to the point of, original politicians running. That's where we get the great presidents from: Abraham Lincoln, George Washington, Franklin Delano Roosevelt. We get all these great presidents who have done great things for our country because they were elected the right way.
Well, there's definitely holes in every idea, and you just got to figure out how to plug up those holes. It's like I tried to tell YRB when he and I were talking about his little idea. There was a lot of holes in it, but if he actually addressed and fixed those holes,
it'd probably be a good idea.
It could have been a worthwhile idea. Just fix what's wrong with it, plug up the holes, and you can put water in the fucking bathtub.
Right.
I mean, it's pure and simple. It doesn't have to be an overly complicated thing. Just got to take the time.
I just think it's funny. Let's go off on a little tangent here for a second with YRV. I think it's funny how YRV shoots you down every chance he gets.
I think it's funny, yeah.
But on the other hand, how we're sitting here discussing how his idea could be a good idea if he would just fix a couple of the little problems that he had.
Well, that's what started this whole thing. He had an idea, it wasn't a good idea. I'm not saying that it was also a bad idea. It just wasn't a good idea.
No, it was a good idea. The first like 20 minutes of that video of his thing was good ideas. But then you get towards the end where it's like one person has to do this, one person has to do that, and that person's me, blah, blah, blah. It's like, well, who put you in charge? That's where we had the problem.
Yeah, and
it wasn't his initial idea. It was the chain of command he was trying to initiate in this
Yeah, he was
system.
trying to make this big fucking thing out of something that was relatively simple. He made it. It was overly complex. It was needlessly overly complex.
All genius ideas are super simple, dude.
Exactly.
That's the thing about it.
Example, Opera Dr. Valentine. It was simple, beautiful, and it fucking lit up like wildfire.
This is simple. This idea right here is very fucking simple. And it's like the biggest fucking trend on the face of the planet right now. Vaping.
Yeah.
You know? It's simple. You have a battery that heats up a coil that ignites a completely ecosystem and health-friendly oil that gives you the sensation of smoking without the harmful side effects. That's a great idea. That's simple. Easy to use, easy to figure out. It's user-friendly, you know?
Yeah. I mean, the best ideas generally are simple. You don't have to overly complicate things, and that was Wireby's problem. But he was on the right path. There needs to be something in place that keeps the government accountable, takes the money out of the equation, and gets things back on track. But it has to be something relatively simple. Policy implementation. You get the right politicians in office, put policy implementation in that cockblocks the New World Order and restores the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, and America's back on fucking track.
Yeah, there's just a few things that needs to be fixed in the policies and procedures that have been going on with the United States these days that would fix everything.
Yeah.
But people are too concerned about fucking lining their pockets with money that it just isn't going to fucking happen. In fact, Chris, Tim, man, I think you have that picture that's on your wall right there.
Oh, the We the People See the Truth?
Yeah, I think that should be our green screen background this week. Just saying.
Yeah, I can put that up. That's no problem.
Anyway, I just feel like this net neutrality bill has been passed without any other outside voting, public voting, is horseshit.
It is. We're already at the point where we'll take a quick break. Roll a cigarette, so we'll come back and pick up a little talk. Alright.
Well, my name is Exhaust and I'm on a hit.
Hello, YouTube Universe. This is good old Grandmaster Revan. Are you looking for daily, unbiased political videos? Come check out my channel at youtube.com/GrandmasterRevan, or you can find me in the featured activist section on the Worldwide Resistant Networks channel at youtube.com/Resistance2058. Remember, knowledge is free.
I want to talk a little bit about how America is becoming a modern-day Sodom and Gomorrah in some aspects. We are losing our morals and ethics in the United States. If you tune into the History Channel, they got Larry the Cable Guy telling penis and fart jokes to Cub Scouts. If you tune into Discovery Channel, they're teaching your children how we originated from aquatic mermaids. I didn't tune in to Fox News to hear about Kim Kardashian's ass cheek implants. There is a Beavis and Butthead mentality going about in this country. and it's contagious.
I look at each of you, and I see the marks of this long and terrible war. If we die tonight, mankind dies with us.
You're doing right now. This is the end of the war.
The truth or not the truth? That's the question! The truth or not the truth? That is the question!
Valid point, man. Valid point, for sure. Yeah. I love Mr. Giggles' creativity, man.
You know, he hasn't been doing a lot of crazy shit lately.
Yeah.
In fact, we haven't heard much from him since the Million Man March, right? I mean, anything like political.
Nah,
that's like the first political thing he's done.
Yeah, he's
in a minute.
He's really gotten into it. I'm impressed. Because normally you just see him hanging out in a fucking dumpster eating packets of Top Ramen and diapers. Remember that shit?
I wasn't there for that, but I did see the video.
That shit was hilarious.
Yes. Isn't that where the rat was found too? The dumpster rat, and he chased Bird around with it?
No, that was something that Tommy Bird had. The whole thing with the rats is when Mr. Giggles had that accident when he was attacked, he was just covered in rabid rats, and just the whole incident and the trauma.
Spit it out, Tin Man, spit it out.
Yeah, the whole incident and the trauma that it caused just completely fucked him in the head. Spent years in Bellevue Mental Hospital.
Also, I have another question. Have you realized how much we've agreed upon lately, too? Like, I haven't really disagreed with anything that we've had to talk about.
There's not too much that can be disagreed with, you know. You and I are both in the same boat. We see the truth. We investigate the facts. You know, there's really no way to contend with this. If it looks like a duck and quacks like a duck, it's a fucking duck. It's not a moose. It's a fucking duck.
If it looks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, it's a crackhead.
That was the old place.
No, that was meth. That wasn't crack, that was meth.
I'm not talking about my old place. I'm talking about the place we lived at before we moved here. The fucking crackheads walking through the thing and shit.
Oh yeah, that was definitely crackhead. That was definitely crack. For sure. Anyway, back on the topic.
Yeah. So, how to take this country back? I mean, that's a good question, and I wish I had the answer.
There's really no good idea to do it. Like I said, take money out of the equation, take technology out of the equation, and then maybe you have something. That would be like the only feasible option to anybody at this point.
Well,
reset everything.
Well, a lot of military personnel seem to be shifting towards the favor of the activists and the people, rather than the corrupt government elitists.
It's because the activists have the military personnel's back. I've seen a lot of activists. I've seen a lot of fucking petitioners. I've seen a lot of, these picketers and these people who are standing up for the rights of the people. Stand up for rights of the veterans as well. And the veterans are down for that shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, of course they're gonna take the rights of the activists. You know what I mean?
Plus, they see that the government's fucking them over on their fucking pensions and,
They cut their health care back to 50% a few years back.
Yeah. I mean, the military are getting completely screwed over. And as of such, in conjunction with what you mentioned, they're waking up and they're shifting over to our side. And I think a good step to taking this country back would be to do like what happened in Egypt, where the military eventually came in.
Make Obama a slave?
No, we're not talking about early 1800s slavery bullshit. I'm thinking the military...
Let my people go! Let my people go!
Jeez. Okay, Moses. But what I'm thinking, the military, along with the people, step in, take control of the government, restore it to its original parameters, put new policies in, and then host a new election.
That's exactly what I said earlier.
Yeah, but minus the military, that'd be the best way to go about it. Like what happened in Egypt.
Well, either way you go about it, you still have corrupt people who want money more than they care about their country. And then you have the 1% of the elitists who want to fucking pay these people off, you know? Don't get me wrong, you know, financial security is a big deal, okay? It's a big fucking deal. And it would be nice to be offered, you know, $1 million just to vote for somebody that you don't want to vote for, you know what I mean? It would be easy to do that. But the easy way is not always the right way, and the easy way isn't always the easy way, depending on how you look at it. I know that sounds crazy the way I just said that the easy way is not always the easy way, but, you know, if you think about it,
the shortest road is not always the best.
Exactly. You know, your short road to financial freedom is not always the best way to go about things, because you got to think about your children. You got to think about the future of the country, not just the immediate present portion. You know what I mean? You got to think about everything. It encompasses everything.
Yeah, you got to think long term, not short term.
Right.
And that's why Scotland wound up fucking themselves over, because they only thought in terms of the here and now. They didn't think of the long term and how it could benefit their country. They just go, oh shit, setting up a new system separating from Europe, that would really fuck us up economically and all this other shit, blah, blah, blah. They fucking let fear dictate them. Because, like I said,
it would be easy. You just collect all the old currency until it's all gone. You know, the economic system, what you're saying. Just to go off on a little tangent here, it would be easy to fix that problem. People just don't fucking see it that way.
Yeah.
If you just collected all the old currency, you'd let people use it until it's gone. But as you start earning more money through your jobs and through other things, you know, converting over to the new standard.
Yeah.
It would be easy.
It would. And people need to stop letting fear dictate them. That's why we haven't taken this country back, because people who are awake, which is a vast majority of people nowadays, which is pretty evident.
Well, I don't know, about 60 to 75% of the people that I know are still fucking retards.
Yeah, but still, as a whole, a great majority of this country is awake. A great majority of this world is awake. The problem is, a lot of them are afraid. And rightfully so. But we can't let fear dictate us. We greatly outnumber these people. And with the military backing us up, for the most part, we have the power to take back this country and fix this problem and completely crush the New World Order agenda. We just got to be willing to do it.
It's the concept of ants. Okay, for every one person on the face of the planet, there's probably 100 million ants.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Ants, if they were a little bit bigger, like if they were the size of cats or dogs, they'd be the dominant species on this planet. Because they're 10 times stronger than their body size, they're 10 times stronger than their body weight. You know what I mean? They're strong fucking species. And that's where we need to get as far as the ideals of people are concerned. You know, we are 10 times stronger than the government in numbers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? In ideals and in the way that we want our country to be. So therefore, if we took that policy or that idea and ran with it, if everybody ran with it, it would have to be a unanimous thing. If everybody ran with it, then I think everything would be fine.
Well, speak in terms of ants. I mean, we are substantially bigger than ants. But I guarantee you, if you fucking fell into an anthill like one of those African fire ants, if you fell into one of their anthills, they'd fucking swarm on you and devour your flesh in a matter of minutes.
Yeah, they'd kill you.
Even though you're substantially bigger than them. And so it is with us. We are substantially more powerful than the government. Yeah, they may be bigger and whatnot, but you swarm those motherfuckers, we'd eat them alive.
Which brings me to a point, too, on one of my videos that I put out there. Know your rights. Know your constitutional freedoms. You know your rights and your freedoms, nobody can touch you. Nobody. At least until they start doing down with, voting and, whatnot, because then at that point you're running a monarchy,
Yeah, well, all you have to do as
socialist
a citizen,
country.
Yeah, all you have to do as a citizen is say, I'm not going to go along with this. If the majority stands in unison and says, fuck you, I'm not going along with this, take your internet bill and your Patriot Act and your Obamacare
shove it up your ass.
And shove it up your ass, what can the government fucking do? If the people say, no, we're not going along with this, regardless of what you fucking say, your pen doesn't mean dick. Your executive action doesn't mean dick to us. What can he fucking do? He's just, the president's nothing more than a man with a big mouth.
That motherfucker got a big mouth.
Yeah. I mean, these people only have as much power as you give them, and if you say, no, what you say is invalid and we ain't going with it, fuck you, what can he fucking do? If the majority says, fuck you, what can he fucking do? He can't arrest you if the people are in unison. Who are they going to arrest? If everybody in the country decided that they aren't going to fucking pay taxes anymore and just flip the bird to the IRS, what could they fucking do?
Well, it's kind of an automatic thing. The government dictates, when taxes are paid and how they're paid and whatnot. So every time you buy something, you're paying taxes anyway.
Yeah, but you can, as far as paying the IRS taxes and what they take out of your paycheck, if you changed your forms and opted out to not pay your taxes, to have
a 1099?
Yeah, if you filled out that form and said that you didn't want the funds taken out of your check every fucking week, and then the majority of the people did that and said, we're not paying it, period, what could the government fucking do? Or if they really wanted to stick it to them, they could donate whatever money's owed to the IRS to charities, museums, whatever, and that's a tax write-off, and the government don't get shit, and legally has no recourse.
Yeah, but then you'll have the charities becoming powerful, you know what I mean? And then you got 1%ists again. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you're just redistributing wealth to another spot of the economy, at which point we're going to have the same problem that we have initially to start with. I don't know. I think this is my ideals of the whole fucking thing here, Tim, man. Just real quick. My ideals of the whole thing. Take money out of the equation. Forget technology at this point. Just take money out of the equation. You take money out of the equation, you take temptation out of the equation, you take corruption out of the equation, and everything's fine. Everybody's going to be honest at that point. Why would you have a president in office that you don't want to have in office if it's not benefiting you? You understand what I'm saying? So, like, if you took the funds out of the equation and just did it for the betterment of the country, which was another one of our discussions way back in the day. You could look it up. I don't know exactly what video it was, but we talked about a utopian society. What would be my ideal of a utopian society? It would be to take money out of the equation and people work for the betterment of the country rather than for the benefit of themselves. If you did that, I think it would be okay. I think everything would be fine.
And then you just exchange goods for goods.
Right. The person that's growing the potatoes can exchange it for corn, and then you can people who are raising the cattle can exchange the corn and potatoes for meat, and then you got yourself a dinner. And that, you know what I mean?
And that works with luxury items too, like TVs, electronics, movies, music.
People do that privately now. I've traded things for things before.
Yeah.
But
you trade to the guy who makes the DVDs. Trade whatever you got for whatever they got.
Right.
It worked. It can work for everything.
It could. You trade goods for goods, then everything would be fine, because not everybody's gonna like potatoes. Not everybody likes corn. You know what I mean? Everybody loves money, though.
Making me hungry.
Everybody loves money, though. You know what I mean? And that's the problem.
Well, they say money is
The root of all evil. I was going there too.
You know, I don't think so. I think money is a double-edged sword. It's a weapon, and it just depends on how you choose to use that weapon.
Yeah, I don't think it's the root. I don't think it's the root of all evil, but I think it's the root of most evils. Money is a majority of the reason why we're in the predicament we're in right now.
Yeah, because people misusing their wealth for the wrong reasons.
Or trying to earn wealth for the wrong reasons. You know what I mean? Like you take the 1%ists who bribe they'll say, hypothetically speaking, the 1%ists approach you. Here, I'll give you $100 million if you vote for this president. What would you do?
Well, as a broke-ass motherfucker, I'd probably take it, you know?
And that's my point.
Yeah,
that's my point. You take money. You take money out of the equation. Okay, the 1%ists they own let's say Google. They own a company. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Okay, I'll give you a job working for me. Take money out of the equation. You're not earning money at this point. You're just working for the betterment of society. I'll give you a job if you vote for the president that I want you to vote for. What would you say? Fuck you. No. You'd say fuck you. Exactly. Because who wants to work for a company if you're not earning money?
Well, it's like my friend Ted DiBiase said. Everybody's got a price.
Right.
And, you know, he really touched on that during one of his sermons that I was able to attend a few years back. You know, there's a lot of corruption in business and whatnot, and he uses well, everybody's got a price, and he really portrayed that in his character when he was still with the WWE, now WWF, that anybody could be bought off for the right price. And that is true, but...
And sad.
Yeah, it is sad, but at the same time, you gotta put yourself above money, too.
That's my point of saying taking money out of the equation. You take money out of the equation, you're putting yourself above money at that point. You're not, surrendering to, a thing that is necessity to live.
Yeah.
Nowadays. You take money out of the equation, you're working for your self-benefit or for the public benefit rather than your self-benefit
of humanity.
Right, rather than your own selfishness.
And because at that point, that's the way it should be.
And that's why I said if you take money out of the equation, there you go.
Yeah,
done deal.
And that'd be good. But being that money is part of the equation, and unfortunately, most people wouldn't want to change that system and go back to the barter system. How to use money for the benefit of humanity rather than to enslave it.
There's no way, because there's always going to be people who want what they want, and if they have enough money, they're going to get it. Let me make an for instance here, okay? And this is not a shot at my brother, because I understand he's a hard-working motherfucker. This guy drives his fucking ass off every day of his life, okay? He's a cross-country truck driver, okay? This guy lives about 30 miles away from me, okay? 40 miles away from me, maybe. And it takes about 45 minutes to an hour from his house to my house, depending on traffic and depending on how fast you're going, blah, blah, blah. Okay, he makes all this money. He makes a good $1,000 a week. This guy could come to my house anytime he wants to, but instead of coming to my house, when he gets money, he buys things. Because he wants what he wants. You know what I mean? It's not a matter of him wanting to hang out with me because he wants to hang out with me too, but he feels that if he has something at his house when he comes home from work, he could use that rather than having to drive an extra hour or two out of his way to come and see his brother for a minute. You know what I mean? And that's understandable. You work hard for your fucking shit. You should be allowed and deserve to buy the things you want to buy and have the things you want to have if you make enough money to do so.
Agreed.
But if you have money, you're not doing it for the betterment of society at that point. You're doing it for your own selfish fucking reasons. I want money. I want money right now because of my family. Yeah. I'm being selfish. I don't want money to give to charities. I don't want money to give to my church. I don't want money to invest in, research or cure for cancer or anything like that. I want money to take care of my family, and that's a very selfish thing. No matter how you look at it, it could be selfless in a moral standpoint because I want to take care of my wife and the children, but it's also very selfish in the fact that I'm not benefiting anybody else except for mine and my own.
Yeah.
Take money out of the equation, though, at which point I'm not working a job to support my family. I'm working a job to support my community or my government or my society.
Yep, and you barter.
Right, at which point you barter.
Yeah. And that could very well work. But,
If you put money into the equation, though, Tim, man, like you were suggesting just a second ago, using money to benefit society, it's not going to work because money has already corrupted society. There's no way people are going to turn.
Well, what about using it to fuck the system? Rather than buying at Walmart, buy from your local community stores.
And that's a big thing. A lot of people do that, dude. Yeah. But that's still not going to eliminate the problem. You're giving wealth from one person to another person. You're just redistributing it in a different way. And the reason that works at this point in time is because not everybody's going to buy from the independent. They're going to buy from the big corporations too.
Yeah.
The big corporation don't care if me or you go to fucking Walmart. They have 1 million people fucking that shop there every day. They don't care if 1 or 2 people don't show up to the fucking store. You know what I mean? Walmart may have something that the independent person doesn't have. So they're going to go to Walmart and buy the thing that they do have. For instance, my wife, okay, she works at Stater Brothers. We can go to Stater Brothers and shop. We could. But you know what? She doesn't get a discount there. Okay, she's part of a union. They think that if you're part of something, you should support it 100%. But we don't support Stater Brothers very often. I mean, we do shop at Stater Brothers. But we shop at Walmart, mostly, or Winco, because it's cheaper. Because they have a bigger selection. Because they have more stuff there, It's a one-stop shop type of place. And that's the reason why that wouldn't work.
Yeah, well, there are ways, and there are programs out there and activist communities that want to try to use the money that they get for the benefit of society.
I'm not saying everybody's like that. Like I said, it's the minority that's like that. It's like us. If I had $1 million right now, I'd buy me a house, I'd buy him a house, I'd buy my brother a house, my wife a house, my sister a house, my entire family would all have homes. Okay? And then whatever was left over, I'd probably donate to give back to my community. Only because that's just me. That was my ideals.
Well, there are a lot of people out there who feel the same way as you do.
I know, but not everybody feels that way, which means people are still... It's just redistributing wealth is what you're talking about. The only way to get rid of the problem is to take money out of the equation, to take monetary value out of the equation.
Yeah.
For instance, let's say this big cup right here is too big for me, and it's too hard for me to handle. And you see Tin Man's cup here, it's relatively smaller than mine. It's easier for me to handle. So, hey, dude, you want a bigger cup? Sure. Okay, well, I'll trade you my big cup for your little cup. At that point, all we're doing is just redistributing. We're not fucking, helping anybody. We're just making it easier on ourselves, which is still a fucking problem.
Okay, well, what about using money to benefit the people in other ways? Not necessarily giving it to corporations or anything, but...
You're still involving money, which still involves corruption.
Well, yeah.
No matter what
you just gotta have accountability to where those funds go. If you're donating to an organization,
that's unconstitutional. That's unconstitutional. Telling you where you have to spend your money and where you have to do it is unconstitutional. It's like forcing Obamacare on you, dude. We both don't agree with that. It's like you have to have insurance by the end of this year, or otherwise you're going to have to fucking pay a fine. And if you don't pay that fine, we're going to put your ass in jail.
No, it's unconstitutional. Here's what I'm saying. If you're donating to a charity that says all the proceeds go to this, 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 at which point you have the right to hold them accountable to their work. That's not unconstitutional.
No, but trying to make somebody do something they don't want to do with something that's theirs is unconstitutional. Holding somebody accountable for something is unconstitutional.
Yeah,
it's like saying
I'm not arguing that point. What I'm saying is give the money to groups like TWRN or Anonymous that are trying to benefit
the people. You got things like Opposite Weather that Anonymous does. Fucking donate to them so they can buy fucking blankets and shelters for the homeless. Donate to TWWRN's Sanctuary Recovery Program to fund that program, to take the homeless off the street and offer programs and systems that'll help them get back on their feet.
These are all good ideas, but you're still involving money.
Yeah.
Think about this.
Yeah, say the money in the right way.
Yeah, but say I had $1 billion, okay, and I told you I'll give you $500 million to put towards your thing, but I want all the wealth redistributed to the homeless.
Yeah.
How's that going to work? You see $500 million in your hand. What are you going to do with it?
I'm going to distribute it to the homeless because that's what I said I was going to do.
No, I know that. But if you see that much money and say you still don't have a job at that point, and you have that much money, what are you going to do with that money, really?
Yeah.
You're going to buy yourself a house. You're going to buy yourself a car, so that way you can go and live and redistribute this one. At which point, you're still using money and it's corrupted because you're not using exactly what you said it was for.
That's why the money is not in my control. It's in the control of the majority by the people. There's accountability there. If somebody says, I'm donating to your cause,
once again, we're back to square one with the people have control of who's in office, who's not in office, yet we have people who corrupt people to vote for different people.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You have somebody else in control of your money. Say you have the best of intentions, okay? Let's just say that. But you want to make sure that the money's being well distributed so you don't have the temptation of spending it yourself. You put somebody that you know in charge of the money, or somebody that has the background who's good with money and who's honest,
they take the money
and run with it. You're still involving corruption. You're still involving monetary value. You need to take that out of the equation. That is the problem with this world, is money. That's why we have bills that are passed without our votes. That's why we have bills that are fucking passed without our votes and without our consent. Things that we don't even know are being fucking drawn up as we speak, even.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because of money. This internet neutrality has nothing to do with the betterment of society in one way, shape, or form, any angle that you fucking look at it. It has to do with money, dude. These big corporations have enough money to give to these fucking internet providers to give them the bandwidth that they want, but to keep us from getting the bandwidth that we deserve because we're paying the same bill that they are.
Yeah.
And it's not fair.
Yeah, it's because the corrupt are in power. But if you had real people in power who weren't corrupted, and who
I'm not saying there's not good people out there, Tim, man. What I'm saying is you involve money in any way, shape, or form, whether it's a penny, whether it's half a penny, whether it's
a door for corruption.
It opens a door for corruption. Exactly. Yeah. And that's what we're trying to take out of the equation at this point.
Yeah, and you're right. It should be taken out of the equation. But at the same time, you can't discredit and just assume that anybody who has money would become corrupt, because there are a lot of good people who have wealth that give and are very charitable and are good people. There was this one guy I read an article on recently. He went out of his way. He was a fucking billionaire, and he gave the vast majority of his wealth to various charities.
And that's great. You know, that's one person.
And those are the kind of people that we need. And there are a vast majority, I think, of people who are like that. I have strong faith in humanity. I see the light and the dark, just as you do. But I do have faith in humanity that if given the opportunity, the right people will do the right thing.
Yeah, but that's what I'm trying to get at, though. Regardless of whether you take the right people who have a ton of money, let's say the most honest people on the face of the planet who have a ton of money to redistribute this wealth to other charities and whatnot, and at which point the other charities have the money, at which point they're going to become corrupt because they've never had that much money before, or they don't know exactly what to do with it. They're going to have a field day with that shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You've got to take monetary value out of the equation. That's the only fucking way to avoid corruption.
Agreed.
The only way.
Well, we're going to go ahead and call it a day on this one. I want to come back to this next week.
I just got done saying how much we fucking agree on everything and just got done disagreeing with you. That's great.
That's awesome. That makes for a good debate. And there's some points I'm going to bring up next week because I want to get into some more power topics, especially with money. Because that, as we've discussed, is a major contributor to the problem. So I want to touch base more on that next week. Until next time, I'm Tin Man,
And I'm Lucid.
this has been your weekly report.
Deuces.